recognition. Wasp nest.
All eyes on us. It's stupid and cheesy, but you know it'll be okay.
Just cut in the movie and hit some hip hop.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Josh, the Fotaku,
I'm Eulalio Magaña.
and this is All Things Film. Today, we bring you a review of All Eyes on Me, the story on Tupac.
You guys all probably know the plot because everybody's been talking about it since he died. So pretty much it's about the life and death of legendary rapper Tupac Shakur. I give a little background of little things that people might not know about him. His mom was pregnant with him in jail, and she was part of the Black Panther movement. And he's raised by a Black Panther, and he has to be moving around with his mom. She ships him off to LA because she's dealing with some issues. Or there he starts rapping, trying to make some money, and then later from there he gets discovered, starts rapping with the Digital Underground, and eventually ventures off on his own. And then from there he just gets into more and more trouble that most young guys will get into, even rock stars will get into. So it's it pretty much shows you the tribulations of a typical rock star story, like a biopic, but it kind of gives a little twist that kind of ties in better to his type of music. So the kind of stuff that happens to him, anybody could relate to that likes artist stories. So it's a tragedy. Most legends die at a young age. So it's pretty much from the start, how he got his start and how he became who he was, and gives you a nice insight on him, and also kind of like the bad directions he took.
Narrative-wise, it's actually cool. This time around, exposition doesn't feel as heavy. It's going off of an interview type of stance on his life. And actually, at first, I thought I didn't like the jump cuts. At first, I felt that they were actually stealing a bit from some of the different personalities in his lifetime. But as it continued on, these cuts actually filled a good flow that would work in between the interview that was occurring, both from the hypocritical standpoint, but then also from the actual standpoint. You see, this story, for the most part, tries to rock off of how a lot of Tupac's personality and music, granted though, even in the sense that if you did listen to his music, you kind of see that story paved way, is the kind of thing that is exposed to somebody who's dealing both with the struggles of having family members that have been targeted in the past simply because of the ethnicity that they were, and at the same time having to deal with how the industry reflects upon popular talent. And I feel that that was actually pretty cool. At first I felt annoyed. I felt that some of the rush cuts weren't as good, but when it's dealing with that perspective, it actually put it together in a pretty fascinating light by the end. So much so that I felt that it was a shame when it almost feels like there's two different stories going on in the same movie. I feel that, you know what? They should have made it two movies. Not to say that I'm trying to expand on runtime. I'm just trying to say I like how we're going through the struggle of what it means to be black in the community that has been targeted for years. More so just because we had to get that reveal from Nixon's VP on the actual war on drugs. That was dirty. That was cold. So anyway, it would have been cool if we would have seen a movie that deals with how he works as an actual leader in this within the first half. And then we have to deal with how the second half deals a lot with Suge Knight and how his business practices are just scary. Scary. I mean, I haven't seen a character with as much charisma and bravado as, let's say, Kingpin from the Daredevil series. I mean, literally, he sells this role as Suge Knight in there, and I feel that you probably could have made two movies, one between the standard that we have to have Tupac's character deal with within the first half, and then the second half when we have to deal with how crazy the more capitalistic side of the music industry has to deal with it. It was fascinating, and I do give it credit for it even though I do have to talk a bit on how just pacing works. I feel it would have been a nice thing if we would have had more time to deal with specific characters in both of those arcs of the story. And you know what, just the fact that I have to say that just blows my mind, because I went in there with really low expectations from somebody who used to listen to his music more so between the late 90s to the mid 2000s.
Well, first of all, I commend the movie because it is kind of like a small studio movie. It's not like a big motion blockbuster like NWA came out. That was a big rap movie, and then they were the first guys to do the Tupac movie, so they might have just do this, and it's actually mainstream and all that. I do like the actor, the main actor. He's dead on. His mannerisms are like really perfect. It feels like he should just play Tupac and that's it. Like quit acting. He can't do any better than play Tupac like to the T. His eyes are a little bit too close together, but other than that, perfect. I do like he was saying, it kind of felt like the cuts were kind of rushed. Pretty much everybody kind of knows the story from the news and everybody keeps talking about it. I felt like the interview part was fine. Like I like the movie, but some of the interview part is like I've seen it before. It's like they use basic tropes of movies, but they kind of like, you know, you understand. It's understandable. It's a small studio. It's a good movie, but they kind of like, I've seen, it's not by the numbers, but the story is so interesting and the guy's so good and charismatic and it's Tupac that you kind of don't really care that it's gonna just point A, point B, and that. I like the beginning. The mom. Okay, so the whole thing about Tupac is like who killed him, who did it. This movie kind of it doesn't give you the answer, but it kind of plants the seeds to let your own self get your own interpretation. You know, it gives you much stuff that you might not know, like the beginning with the mom talking about how the FBI should have set him up, and so it makes you think maybe that's the reason, because there's a lot of heaviness on like, a black leader, or they fear us because our voices and we're changing society, and that's kind of why they go after us. So that's another thing. Also, Tupac, it shows how he's, you know, a talented and artistic, but like, why does he want to kill somebody over like Shane? Why doesn't he just stay with his girl? It's always like about proving himself. Maybe because as a kid growing up, it was a tough life, but it kind of shows you he ended up getting killed for no reason. But again, that could have been another seed to make you interpret how he died. It kind of started kind of corny with the mom with the Black Panther. It was like overacting a little bit from that, but you know, it kind of felt like a blaxploitation film at the beginning, but it got better from there. I like the Suge Knight stuff, everything that you kind of know, like they got through it real fast. So a few lines of dialogue to the next scene. They planted seeds of like why maybe he had issues with Biggie, with Snoop Dogg. Overall, like I said, it was a good film. It started off great with the background of like him on stage, get people saying Tupac, so it makes you feel right off the bat that you're looking at Tupac in the movie. So I don't have any complaints other than it felt like too rushed. When I finished watching the movie, it's like that's it. But actually, it was like almost about a 2-hour movie. But the ending of it is kind of like he's just driving down Vegas, and you already know what's gonna happen, but they don't build up like a dramatic. It just happens, like it just how kind of he got shot. It just felt like a normal little drive. So they kind of made it. You already know it's coming, but they didn't build up to it because in your mind you already know it's gonna come.
Yeah.
And it kind of ended with a little, and that was it. There was no. He got shot, and then it was bittersweet. It felt like it was too short, but so was his life. So that's kind of what it made it feel like.
Yeah, it's like I do agree with like the points that you made. I totally agree with, because like it was just between those rush cuts where like I don't like how it went. That's why part of me feels like it would have been cool if they did make it a 2-movie thing. I know that people get like upset when they bridge something too out, but there's like almost 2 different stories that are happening within the same movie, and I feel that that's what hurts it. Because if we would have spoken on 2 different aspects between when he grew up to the point where he got out of jail and ending with that interview, and then when he started off with Death Row Records, that actually would have made for like a good like continuation, and it wouldn't have felt off, and we would have gotten more time for letting some of these actors shine within the cameos of the characters they were doing, so they don't just feel like cameos.
Yeah, unlike NWA movie felt bigger, felt more involved, more dramatic, more acting. This was more like, this guy is really good Tupac. Let's just this what happened. They said this happened. This again. It was a good movie, but overall it wasn't like as big as it could have been. Like a really big like Oscar movie. It was just a good movie.
Which I will agree, though cinematography is actually pretty nice for this movie. Most of the time you figure that things would feel a little bit off, but for what they're working with in its genre, it does let it shine. If we're not focusing with just the issues that we have in terms of exposition or story, it works out pretty well. And when it comes with music and its implementation, I think it's done with at least a bit of due respect without it seeming off or so. At the beginning though, they seem to focus more on how the actual character works within actually trying to redub some of the scenes and stuff, but by the end we start hearing a bit more of the classic Tupac tracks, the regular voice that's in there, and you know what, I do commend it with that, because Tupac just has such a specific voice in between the lyrics and the exposition to what he does, that they don't try to stride up mirror it as much as they try to pay respect, and that's cool.
I liked, well, as any rap fans, you're kind of waiting to see the cameos, like, what was this guy? Snoop Dogg came out in the movie, like people were like, that Peter doesn't look like Snoop Dogg, but then his voice was a lot like Snoop Dogg, so they got all the side characters, and that is a few jokes in there, some funny lines, you know. Dog Pound was there, Daz, all these other rappers that you might have known, so they put Jada Pinkett Smith was in there, which I don't know if they really were that close or anything, which is interesting. A lot of stuff that you think you know about Tupac, and we added some stuff that maybe even somebody who knows a lot of them didn't know about it. But it was a good movie. I'd say go see it.
I definitely give it a 3 out of 5. It beat my expectations on how that movie was going to go, and with the performances that we're giving in there, they actually do have a lot of respect that has to be given to it. I know that sometimes we have Hollywood that likes to put out what is more marketable, put out some serious star power to it, but I feel that from the performances that we're giving out right here, it was nice, it was true through it, and in terms of tone and how we went through it between basing its comedy to its more darker aspects, I feel that there actually was a good balance to it. But personally, I do feel that it would have been stronger if we would have divided between the two arcs that are in this movie so that we can give more people their time to shine. I know that we have an issue between how Hollywood needs to be accurate to a storyline, to a particular character, but sometimes we already understand how things are just going to be lost in translation when trying to put these things together. And I mean, we have some great storylines, even like Amadeus. Nobody's going to know how accurate Amadeus actually is to dealing with Mozart, but it's just such a memorable movie because of the creative liberties that they took with it. I feel here they could have done a little bit more. I feel it's disappointing when we have a cameo to a character that's trying to act out the persona of Dr. Dre, only have him for about a few scenes and not try to elaborate on it, which I feel they could have done within 2 different things, so that way we could have gotten a twist.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like they just rushed it, like he just like heard a song and like boom, everything was rushed, everything was you know, it felt pretty much if the guy wasn't so good as Tupac, it would have been like a just okay movie. Mm-hmm. But just the guy carried the whole movie, that guy, and everybody else, he kind of didn't care because you're just looking at the screen like this guy is like really good, so you kind of feel like you're watching a little bit of Tupac, you know, one last time.
Though I still want to say that there's a lot of potential between the talent that actually is in this movie, so I definitely say, yeah, definitely do give it a watch.
But and I think they might do a part 2, Tupac part 2, like when he faked his own death. We all know that. The second one, they show him how he got escaped to Cuba.
Is it? I don't know how accurate the holograms are. You can't throw me in there.
Tupac, All Eyes on Me part 2, Escape to Cuba. Can't wait.
Cuba?
We all know Tupac's in Cuba right now. He was hanging out with Fidel Castro.
Anyway, thank you everybody for watching this. We hope you enjoyed. Please enjoy. If you enjoyed this content, give it a like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you next week. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time.
Wasp Nest.
Represent.
You're not with us, you're against us.